Hello again. Trying to stay awake after doing job 1 and job 2. While I'm waiting for the first video to upload, I wanted to make a second video. In fact, there's a lot of subjects I want to talk about just because today is an exceptionally crazy day in areas that relate to my degree, which is Master's in Business Administration. The Wall Street Journal posted an opinion about CEO employee pay gap. Why this is relevant is because Democrats, aka liberals, aka socialists, aka communists, are trying to post blame on these highly paid CEOs from the AFL-CIO's report that the average, and this has been accepted as dogma, it's been accepted as true. I've seen it in books in college that the average employee is paid, it would take 331 employees to make the pay of the average CEO. CEO makes 331 times what their average employee does. And they point back to the 50s when it was a lot lower. I think it was 7 or 8 to 1 ratio. I can't remember that stat. That was from one of my books. The only problem is the AFL-CIO, like all liberals, they cook the books. And if you don't know what that means, that's sort of like what Enron did. They manipulate the numbers so they can get the results that they want. Now you have to forgive me if I look at my monitor so I can provide you with the information as it was reported in the opinion. And before you attack the opinion, let me just scroll down here and tell you it was written by I have to scroll up to get the name of the person, Mark J. Perry and Michael Saltzman. And Mr. Perry is a professor of economics at the University of Michigan Flint, a resident scholar at the American Enterprise Institute. Mr. Saltzman is a research director at the Employment Policies Institute. Now, the reason why this is relevant, as I'm going to get to, the AFL-CIO, to get this figure of 333 to 1 ratio, they took the top 350 CEOs according from the S&P 500. And the S&P 500 are the 500 largest corporations. Well, they took the top 350. And they compared that average to the average pay for a person, which is 35,239, according to the AFL-CIO. Excuse me. The only problem is, according to the Bureau, where is this at? You have to Bureau of Labor Statistics. There are not 350 CEOs in the United States. Pshaw. There are actually 248,760 CEOs in the United States. And when you crunch the numbers on what their pay is, their average pay of a chief executive is, are you ready for this? What do you think it is? 6 figures still? 7 figures? 8 figures? That is 6 figures. 178,400, which works roughly to 5 to 1, roughly. 5 to 1. That's lower than the glory years that people always point to in the 50s when the CEO pay was so much closer to the pay of the average worker. Now, there are plenty of problems with the CEO's pay, with the way it's based on stock options. I don't want to get into that because it's a complex issue, and I would have to actually refresh my memory to be able to discuss it in a manner that my argument will not be destroyed because I make a simple error. I forget to leave out a point or a fact. But the way options are set up, basically, the CEO can benefit from doing the right thing or the wrong thing. He can cannibalize, or I'm sorry, since we have to be politically correct, they can cannibalize their own firm to enrich themselves. Now, this is a definite problem, and it's a problem that will have to be dealt with. But I don't think it can be dealt with by the government. I think that's up to the marketplace to deal with it. But you have to turn around and think of it like this. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. It sucks not being prepared, but you work 16 hours to make a video and see how well prepared you are. Think of it this way. The employee is responsible for their job. Their labor cost is factored in to that job. The profitability of that job, of that product or that service, is what their pay is based on. If we increase their pay, we have to increase the profitability. If we increase the profitability, we may eliminate their job. If we eliminate their job, it's not going to do a damn bit of good that someone else is still getting paid more money because you have killed jobs. So they are paid according to the profitability that they supply to the organization. They are in charge of this much. Now the CEO is in charge of the entire organization. The profitability of the entire organization rests upon their shoulders. They are in charge of this much. So they are awarded proportionately. Now, one study I've not seen done is I'd like to see exactly how well awarded the CEO is, percentage-wise, to the profitability that they provide versus, or are responsible for, since the left would say they don't provide it. Actually, they do. They make the final decisions. They decide the people that will be promoted, that will be making decisions, that they delegate that authority to. So don't even try to go there. But what percentage are they paid versus the percentage of profitability that the person on the bottom provides? And how are you going to properly award someone who doesn't have a direct effect within the organization because they actually don't make a product or provide a service? They are support personnel. They are human resources. They are maintenance. That's why you have to leave it to the market. And this argument that the AFL-CIO has, and this effort by the Democrats with their CEO Employee Pay Fairness Act, there is absolutely no way I want to trust the government to come in and decide what is the right pay, what is the wrong pay. And if they're going to do this to corporations, why don't they do this to the corporations in Hollywood? They're providing a service. Entertainment is a service. So I want to see the pay regulated of these celebrities that make so much money for playing make-believe. Or what about athletes? Think about how highly paid athletes are. Athletes are paid an insane amount of money, not as much as a lot of celebrities are. But then again, athletes tend to be celebrities as well in their own right. Where do you draw the line? Do you people not realize we are pushing towards the concept of a state that will decide exactly how much you are paid, for your job. And it doesn't matter what that job is. What is that? Any guess? That is called socialism. That is called communism. That is when the state controls production. The state controls pay. Or maybe we won't get to that point. Maybe we'll just stop at fascism, where it's a merger between the state and business, where the state still controls, the state still makes decisions, but the profitability still goes to the guys that are running things like the Soros and the Buffett and the Gates and all these other far left-wing billionaires who will benefit. They will benefit. They have so much money that an increase in taxes does not hurt them because they are beyond being touched. The increase in taxes hurts the small entrepreneur that tries to build something. And then these big boys are not threatened by somebody coming up and with a new idea that can actually bring them down or force them to stay competitive. It gives them a monopoly because they are at the top. No, I cannot agree with the marketplace being messed with by government. Government, by its very nature, is inefficient as hell. Trust me, one of my jobs is for city government. You have no idea how much they waste. Government, the bureaucracy only survives to feed itself. The bureaucracy's only desire is to get bigger. The bigger the budget of each department, the more important that department is. And if somebody is actually an efficiency nut in that department and they don't use that budget, it is taken away next year. And they may need it next year. So no one wants to see their budget get smaller because then they are no longer as important within the organization. That is how government works. And government has no competition. They will just force you to pay more. Or they'll borrow the money. And when they can't borrow anymore, then they will still force you to pay more. They will find a way. So, we need to keep the government out of the marketplace. That's all I got to say. We need to not worry about what the CEO's pay is. If you have a problem with the CEO's pay, here's an idea. Buy stock. Because just like you get one vote for being a citizen, guess how many votes you get if you own stock? Well, there are shares of stock that you don't get to vote, but I don't want to talk about that. Generally speaking, for every share of stock you get one vote. So if you have 1,000 shares, you get 1,000 votes. If you don't like the way your employer is doing things and they are a publicly traded company, buy stock in the company. Vote out that CEO. As an owner, it will be your right. Something to think about. This is Room 101 signing off. To all of you on the right, much love. To all of you on the left, get a life.